Dhirendra, I want to understand from you, you have designed portfolios on this show for various age groups and various risk appetites. Now, if I'm someone who works as a freelance professional and I don't have a regular paycheck coming in at the end of every month, is there any way that I can adapt these portfolios to suit my needs?
Somebody with irregular income wanting to accumulate his savings, depending on his risk appetite and the 4 profiles, he should try and choose one, and then from his less periodic income, either create a SIP series out of that. Assuming that you have zeroed in on saving 1,20,000 rupees a year, and you get it in 1 month, the idea should be to stagger it over a period of time, not invest lump sum, either that way, or even doing a lot of people think that only a monthly saving or more frequent investment will translate into SIP. No. If you are investing for next 20-30 years and if you are investing annually, that is also a SIP.
This is interesting. Our portfolios are flashing on your screen. These are portfolios designed based on age groups. So what Dhirendra is saying is that if you can't make a monthly commitment at this point, make a yearly commitment or make a half-yearly commitment that you will put money away for the long term. And remember, especially if you're a freelancer, then you don't have that EPF commitment. There isn't money deducted from your salary already going towards your retirement, which means you need to do it yourself. So you need to start now. Let's move on now to our portfolio versus portfolio segment. Well, 28-year-old Vibhuti has written in with an annual income of 10 lakh rupees, Dhirendra. He has a goal to retire with 3 crore rupees in the next 28 years. Now, he tells us he supports a family of 4, wife, his son, and his parents who live with him. He seems to have enough term insurance. He has 1.5 crore rupees. He also has a couple of insurance policies that he's been paying for. And he also has health insurance of 5 lakh rupees. So his insurance seems to be looked after. He has 1.5 lakh in PPF and 1 lakh rupees in fixed deposits. He wants to know how much he should be setting aside every month in order to achieve his goal of 3 crore rupees in the next 28 years. Would you say at about 12%, if that's fair, if equity gives him, then 9,000 rupees a month should be enough from his point of view?
Yes, about somewhere between 9 to 10,000 will be enough if it is yielding 12%. If it is yielding 8%, which is the post office recurring deposit, then also it will become 1.5 crore. And if that translates into a 15% annualized return, then he will end up with twice as much as he's expecting. And just to warn him that, if he's thinking of, 3 crore as at current value, 3 crore will not be worth 3 crore 28 years from now.
Right, so you have to take into consideration what inflation will do to your amount of 3 crores in 20 years from now. But looking at his investments, Dhirendra, he has a couple of ULIPs, he has the PPF, he has a fixed deposit. He obviously needs to start a mutual fund investment as well. Which of our portfolios would you recommend he uses?
Given that he has 28 years ahead, I would say can stop contributing in the PPF or just continue his account with the essential investment to keep his account live. Besides that, he should go for our growth portfolio.
All right, our growth portfolio is flashing on your screen right now. You can jot that down. If you have a similar question, you'd want us to take a look at your portfolio, write to us on the email ID that's at the bottom of your screen. You can also reach us on Facebook, as did this next person. Rupesh wrote in from Mumbai. He tells us he has a long-term investment horizon and he wants to invest in a debt fund via an STP. He wants you to help him choose between HDFC Flex STP and Reliance Smart Step. Which one should he be choosing, Dhirendra?
I think, don't complicate things. STP is a good thing in a way that you want to invest, you have lump sum money and you want to get over with your mechanism of investing. You don't want to do it every month. And so you put your money into relatively stable fixed income fund or a liquid fund or a cash fund or any such thing. And from there, it's like a standing instruction of doing a SIP from there. So you eliminate the possibility of catching the market, making your investment at the wrong time. So keep it simple. STP is a good thing if you have a lump sum to make. And so that is why choosing a good fund, investing regularly and having the belief is the key ingredient. And so don't complicate things. Do a STP or do a SIP. Ignore these fancy SIP variants.
All right, Rupesh, the important takeaway is to keep your investments simple and easy to manage. 37-year-old Avijit has written in. He wants to build a corpus of 1 crore rupees in 10 years, Dhirendra. He's investing 22,000 rupees a month in mutual funds and he has a moderate risk appetite. which is interesting because he has a very aggressive goal. He wants to know if his investments are on track. Let's start off right on top. He has HDFC Top 200 and the Franklin India Blue Chip Fund. Now, HDFC is a large and mid-cap fund. Franklin India Blue Chip is a large-cap fund. They're both strong funds. Should he hold on to both of them?
Yes, both are good funds, and HDFC Top 200 is a large and mid-cap fund. Blue Chip always remains a large-cap fund, and both are outstanding funds in their own categories.
Next on his list is HDFC Balanced Fund. Now, if he has a strong target like 1 crore rupees in 10 years, and he's going aggressive, do you think there's a need to have a balanced fund in his portfolio?
No, I don't see a role of a balanced fund here. That apart, I think, having HDFC Top 200 and having this balanced fund, assuming that this balanced fund is not a balanced fund, it's an equity fund with 20-25% into fixed income, still I find that the complementarity of the equity portfolio in these two funds eliminates the need to have this balanced fund.
ICICI Prudential Discovery is the next on his list, along with ICICI Prudential Dynamic. Dhirendra, they're not exactly the same type of fund, but does he need to have both in his portfolio?
Yes, both funds are actually very different. ICICI Prudential Discovery is a value fund and happens to be a mid and small cap orientation today. ICICI Prudential Dynamic is a very difficult fund to manage. This fund tries to change its portfolio complexion with the changing times, and there are just too many very changing parts. So far it has done well. It's a good fund, but one has to be watchful of how well it does over time.
All right, keep an eye on that fund. IDFC Premier Equity Plan A is the next on his list, Dhirendra, along with IDFC Sterling Equity. Now, Premier Equity is a strong fund. Would you recommend he hangs on to that one?
Yes, given that he has 10 years time frame, for first 6, 7 years, he can well have larger allocation to mid and small cap and more through these times. So, ICICI Prudential Discovery or Premier Equity can have larger allocation. And only as he gets closer to his goal, when he gets closer to being, realizing it or taking his money out, 2-3 years before that, he should start, increasing his fixed income allocation. At the same time, get more conservative with his equity allocation by tilting his portfolio more towards large caps.
All right, Avijit, we hope that helps. Remember, you can write back to us if you need more help. If you would like us to have a look at your mutual fund portfolio, send it to us on the email ID at the bottom of your screen. Dhirendra, we have one quick question for you before we end this segment. Dinesh has written in from Mumbai. He tells us he finds the idea of investing in a fund of funds far more interesting, and he wants to know why you don't recommend fund of funds on a regular basis.
Two very compelling reasons. The logic is that a fund of fund is little more expensive. You invest in a fund of fund which costs 75 basis points, and then that fund invests in another fund which has its underlying expense, which could well be 2.25% or whatever it be. So effectively you end up paying more, which is not, you don't get to feel the expense of a fund because it is deducted from the NAV on a day-to-day basis and your NAV gets reduced. The other is tax inefficiency. When you invest in an equity fund or a balanced fund, you hold it for 1 year, all the gains are tax-free. When you invest in a fund of fund and it is investing in all the underlying funds are equity fund, the tax treatment of a fund is not like that of an equity fund. It is treated as all your gains are treated like that of a debt fund. You don't even pay the STT which you typically pay when you redeem your investment from equity fund. So I don't think they have a very significant role to play today. And added the two variables, I don't think they make any sense at all.
All right, Dinesh, while a fund of funds does make sense in concept in our market right now, it's both tax inefficient and expensive, which is why Dhirendra suggests you focus on direct equity funds for now. Dhirendra, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.